Did you know that even in the winter, in places as cold as Minnesota, your electricity can be turned off by utility companies? This can happen to children, college students, families, and the elderly. But why does this happen? Unfortunately, the inability to pay for energy is a difficult reality for many Americans. Energy poverty, sometimes described as fuel poverty, is when households lack access to energy services such as electricity and heat. This can mean not being able to maintain an indoor temperature that allows for healthy and comfortable living. In 2012, 15% of households in the U.S. were below the poverty line and paid a disproportionate amount of their income to adequately heat or cool their home. As this chart shows, people living at 0 to 49% of the poverty level spend over 40% of their income on energy expenses. After paying their utility bills, they may not have enough money for other household expenses, such as childcare, food, rent, and many more. The alternative can mean not having heat or electricity, which is especially needed in times of extreme heat or extreme cold. This choice can lead to housing instability, homelessness, and rising debt. Because energy takes up so much of people's average monthly expenses, utility bills serve to exacerbate the cycle of poverty. When households do not have adequate access to energy services, public health and safety issues can arise. Many families who are in a tough financial spot to begin with are there because of health problems. Unfortunately, exposure to extreme heat or extreme cold can often serve to exacerbate these health problems, creating a vicious cycle. When families turn to alternative heating sources, such as space heaters, fire hazards are created, which endangers the energy-insecure family as well as neighboring residents. But could this happen to me? The short answer is yes, if you don't pay your utility bills on time. This rule applies to everyone, the elderly and families with young children included. If this seems harsh, don't worry, there is something you can do. In Minnesota, the cold weather rule requires that ratepayers who have difficulty paying their utility bills contact their provider to work out a mutually acceptable payment plan in order to preserve service during the winter months, which are characterized as October 15th through April 15th. However, this only applies to heat, and even during the darkest months, your electricity can be shut off. While the cold weather rule is an option, it doesn't solve the root of the problem, that low-income people have such high energy costs in the first place. Ultimately, the choice between paying for food and paying for utilities is a difficult one that people should not have to make. However, the system can be set up to work for the best interest of the public while still allowing energy and utility providers to earn a profit. How can this be done? Current solutions focus on how to help consumers deal with the reality of expensive energy through helping people save energy. Community organizations, nonprofits, utilities, and government bodies often provide free and reduced-cost weatherization services to reduce energy use and month-to-month costs. The Weatherization Assistance Program is federally funded through the U.S. Department of Energy and implemented through a given state's Department of Commerce. The Weatherization Assistance Program enables income-qualified households to upgrade their homes to make them more energy efficient through wall and attic insulation, repair or replacement of mechanical systems, and air infiltration sealing. To be eligible for the Weatherization Assistance Program, households, whether owners or renters, must be at or below 200% of the federal poverty level, and priority is given to households with children and seniors. Some utility companies offer similar services. Xcel Energy's Home Energy Squad provides energy efficiency evaluations and upgrades at discounts to qualified homeowners. This leaves renters out in the cold. Renters often have lower incomes than homeowners and spend a disproportionate amount of their income on energy to begin with. State governments can also pass policies that protect low-income energy users. For example, in 1994, the Minnesota State Legislature passed a law requiring electric companies that serve over 200,000 customers, like Xcel Energy, to provide low-income customers with a 50% discount on the first 300 kilowatt hours consumed each month. This saves low-income households, on average, $108 per month. Another helpful piece of Minnesota legislation was passed in 2007 and relates to natural gas utilities. The Gas Affordability Program prevents any participants from paying more than 6% of their income on their natural gas utility bill. While assisting households with paying high energy bills is an essential part of combating energy poverty, we must also look at the larger forces that put people in these situations. Lowering overall energy costs is critical in reducing energy poverty at the source, which can be done through democratizing energy systems and integrating less expensive energy sources into our utility portfolio. Fossil fuels are only getting more expensive, and our current system disincentivizes utility companies from offering the most cost-efficient energy options for their consumers. While what we just talked about requires a change to the system, there are concrete things we can all do. There are so many things that can be done to dramatically cut energy costs, including home insulation and air sealing, appliance upgrades, better home heating and cooling management, and community solar. These all have the added benefit that they will pay for themselves, with upfront costs offset within 10 years. However, low-income folks can rarely access these opportunities because they are often renters and rarely have access to capital and affordable loans to cover the upfront costs. In order to remediate this, we must 1. Require utilities or a community financing program to cover the upfront costs of energy efficiency improvements so the resident does not have to, and as the resident's energy costs go down, they pay the majority of their savings in their utility bill to that financing partner until the improvement is paid off. This requires community and political pressure to get the utility providers to take action. Second, we must lobby for programs and laws that both require and make it easy for landlords to upgrade energy efficiency and clean energy in rental properties so that renters are not faced with leaky, inefficient housing that they don't have the legal authority or the finances to do anything about. And third, require utilities to invest in efficiency and community-based energy for low-income communities. Energy poverty is an issue no one should have to live with. Communities need to stand together to fight energy poverty by getting their cities, states, and utilities to enact substantive changes.